Today we're going to take a look at a brand that has been rocketing up my favorites list of late. This is Inno Models, more specifically the 1/64th scale Inno Models, or as we all call them, simply Inno64. This model that I'm holding is a Silvia S14, and this was the first model that I purchased from Inno. I picked this up a couple months ago, so this is a relatively new brand to me. But it is something that during this time frame has really captured my attention. Um, Inno, in its early days, put out a large number of models of this sort right here. This is a JDM car with a Rocket Bunny body kit on it, so kind of a tuner type car. And this was a lot of their early releases were of this type. They did a lot of these Nissan Silvias, Nissan Skyline GTRs, and things like Honda Civics and Honda Accords. And while I really like these models, this type of car is not really my favorite thing. I mean, I do like them a lot, and I will buy them occasionally, but it's not something that I'm super driven to collect. So this was a lot of the early releases from Inno64 were of this type, but lately that has begun to change, and so we're going to take a look at some models, some of the newer models that they've put out lately that are much more interesting to me. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the brand, or what you get when you buy a Inno64 model. So these are a metal body. Most of the time, they have a plastic base, but there are exceptions to that. So like this Porsche has a metal base, which is a bit unusual. I believe this is the only Inno64 model that I have currently that has a metal base. But most of the time they will have plastic. So you get metal body, plastic base most of the time. You will get rubber tires and inserted details for headlights and taillights and so on and so forth. Overall, just a lot of detail. So these are very, very detailed models. They are primarily designed to be display models, so they're intended to live in their acrylic box and basically sit on your shelf. Most of them do not roll, which is for me a huge negative point. This particular model almost rolls. It likes to roll backwards. It does not like to roll forwards. But it is one of the better of these lower ride height cars that has put out. These others like this Skyline that I had shown previously. These wheels don't move at all. This is completely a static display model. It does not roll, has no hope of rolling, and to get this low stance, that's what they had to do. Um, I personally, my personal opinion is I like my models to roll. I don't know why. It's just something that I like. I like to put them on my desk every once in a while and drive them around, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that's the tiny bit of a little kid that still exists in me. But because of that, when I first started looking at Inno, like when I first bought this model, I wasn't super driven to collect them because of that. But as they put out more releases and begun to change the type of models that they're putting out, my opinion has definitely begun to change. And one of the first ones that I picked up that really started to change my opinion was this one. This is still this same Silvia S14, but they added this roof rack with a couple bicycles, which I thought was really interesting. I love this kind of thing. I just think it's so much fun, and it makes such a more interesting model. Gives it a little bit more character, and that was a fantastic thing. So this was probably the first one that really captured my attention, and really was one that I would say I really like that model. It's you know, despite the fact that the wheels still don't turn, it is it is a fantastic model, and I am going to take it out of its acrylic case and I'm going to put it on my shelf just like this, because you can't put the bicycles on it when you put it in its acrylic case. But fantastic model. And then, I showed this Porsche a little while ago. This one came in around the same time. I'm a big Porsche fan, so this is another little point in shifting my opinion of the brand, because this is a beautiful model, and this is a Liberty Walk Porsche 911, and it is a pretty nice version of this car. And then shortly after that, I had picked up this. And if you've watched my channel at all, you know that I'm a huge racing fan, and the 1990s DTM cars have a particular affinity for me. So this is the 1992 or 93 Mercedes 190E DTM race car, and this thing is incredible. This car has been done by Mini GT, it's been done by Tarmac Works, and then it's been done by Inno64 in this version. And of those, I believe Inno has done the best version so far. And it's just absolutely beautiful. Just so much detail. The headlights are very detailed. You have your tiny little Mercedes badge there, antennas on the roof, and just an absolutely stunning version of this car, which is high on my list of favorites. So when considering the brand, if they're going to be putting out stuff like this, then it becomes much more interesting to me. And then the next thing that they put out that really shifted my opinion were these Toyota Land Cruisers, and these actually roll without any issue. So if they can make a car that rolls, they will. And these are fantastic. So they put it out this beige with an orange and brown stripe with the roof rack, and then they also did this blue one, which is really a very cool version of it as well. And there's one other version of it available too. There's a Coke livery region exclusive that I don't have, but yeah, these are stunning models. And so let's try to take a look. This is a little bit challenging to do on camera, but I do want to try to take a look at this interior. And I'm going to turn on another light and see if I can get it to shine in here. And we can see the level of detail that they have put into the dashboard. You can see the gauges, the detailed steering wheel. You can see that the seats have a finish to them. It's probably just a decal, but it gives it a nice character. If we can turn this around, and you can see the headrests are kind of a pinkish color, whereas the seats have stripes. And then on the inside door panels, you can see that there's also the same pattern has carried through to the inside door panels, which is a pretty cool thing. And overall, let's see if I can get this light to shine in the right spot without blocking the camera. You can see on the inside the detail in the back as well, and just in the back seat. Maybe a little flaw there, but overall, just super detailed models. And that's what you get with super premium. And sometimes you have to sacrifice the rolling aspect to get it, or in this case you don't at all, because this one rolls perfectly fine. But absolutely fantastic model. And then the most recent release that they put out were these Ford Sierra Cosworths, and these again are just beautifully done. And you have what appear to be laser etched wheels and rubber tires, and these almost roll. They don't quite roll. This one, the front wheels don't really want to turn very well, and then they put out the street version as well, and on this one the front wheels roll fine, but the back wheels don't want to roll. But so they're close. But anyway, I know I'm dwelling too much on the rolling aspect, but to a lot of collectors that's an important thing, and I think I'm on that list. So, but I still these are fantastic models, and I had shown these in my most recent weekly haul video. But in that, I kind of went through them a little bit quickly, and I wasn't really able to point out the differences between these and the subtle little details that they have incorporated into the models. So the racing version, it has this. There's a tow hook right here that you can see. It has an antenna. If you look at them from the front, the mirrors are different. There's a tow hook on the front as well. But the most significant thing is if we take a look at the interior, and let's try to do this, zoom in again. And we'll see that on the racing version, it's a left-hand drive. It has a racing steering wheel, a very minimalistic dashboard. It has a single seat. There's a fire extinguisher behind the seat. You have a roll cage, and there's no passenger seat. This is very, very tricky to show. And then on the street version, you have a full interior. It's a right-hand drive. You have full interior, full detailed, molding and detail in the dash. And then again, the seats have a pattern on them. Which again, I'm sure it's just a decal, but it's a really cool touch that gives the model more character. And obviously, all of this stuff's a lot easier to look at when you actually have the model in your hand, and you're not trying to shine a light and focus the camera and all these kind of things at the same time. But these are fantastic releases, and it's just this level of detail in the models is fantastic. And this is something that I think they have improved in the last few months. It seems like there's been such a huge improvement in this brand already, and so it's very exciting to see what they come out with next. And so I also have here in the background, I have a few other models. I'm not going to go into these on this video. These will be saved for my weekly haul video this weekend. But I do want to tease this one. This thing is really cool, this Toyota Celica. And we'll get this out of the package and take a look at it in that video. So if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and consider watching this weekly haul video next.